And we are cooking with gas. Welcome to the CCVT Podcast with myself, Jacus Ferelius, joined by Conor Boydicus.
As per usual.
We have apologies for Jack Parry, who is currently volunteering in the Wairarapa, and Sam Harris, who is getting ons. He apparently has not changed clothes and is at Fox Club getting rocked.
Legend.
But we are joined for the first time on the CCVT podcast by a guest, and that guest is none other than serial maniac and general cactus consumer, Conor Shand. Welcome to the cast, sir.
I was really worried what was going to follow the word cereal. Just
I thought I'd be kind to our first guest. You know,
it could have been far worse.
Second guest,
following that.
Lots and lots. How are we getting on?
Not bad. Good size, I suppose.
Good size. Just before we came on the air, we were just talking about manifestos. And if we had a manifesto and the reasons why one might have one, and what was your reason for having a manifesto?
I just think that, like, in case anyone has some sort of serious incident, if everyone writes a manifesto in preparation before that happens, then it means that sort of say you crash your car, all of a sudden it goes from just being an accident to like you're a rebel with a cause. I rear-ended
for a reason.
Rear-ended a Toyota Hiace, but in the name of justice.
What would be on your manifesto?
Nothing that I think needs to be on the internet.
Fair. What about you, Boydicus?
I was thinking deeply there for a minute. I don't know if I have any strong enough beliefs to manifest on a piece of paper. Like, what would it be? I don't know.
I don't know. What would be like some good, like, there's got to be something that you're like that you got. There's got to be a
stand
cause.
up for, Yeah. I'm not the kind of guy that gets behind a cause.
I
really don't care enough about most things.
Something minor, like just like the bus stops that are now in the middle of the road, like just that. Like how the buses
should be free,
and it's like they took a bunch of bus stops and moved them so that the buses just stop in the middle of the road and stop traffic. And it's something like in Hamilton, they're getting fucking like racked up about it at the moment. There's like people, there's like in the newspaper, because everyone just wants to be like the public transport's the enemy.
Yeah.
Car city. And so like there's one like on like Glenmore Street where it's like gets peak traffic, and then the buses they pull up, stop, and it's just like.
Oh, there's no like bus stop per se, like off the main road. It's just like bus stop is next to actual road.
Yeah, the bus just stops on the road.
So they're not like intentionally stopping the bus on the road just to fuck people off.
No,
I don't know.
Like that's where the bus stop is now. It's the new route.
Yeah.
If you put that in your manifesto, like go like I don't know, like go crash into like a bunch of people and be like, move the bus stops back. Dude, like if you're gonna do it, at least because then you can affect some minor change. Just pick something.
I don't know. I feel like even the people that want to affect minor change are failing to affect minor change at this point. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe manifestos and low key car crashes are what's required.
I don't know if crashing into a lamppost would enact any change though.
Depends what lamppost it was, I guess.
And we just have a podcast where we're just reading out Jake's manifesto. He's still in custody for running down a 90-year-old on the street.
All in the name of bus stops.
You definitely hit a cyclist, if anything, wouldn't you?
Cyclists? Yeah, but they fucking suck, bro. Just fuck off.
Yeah, I've had Jake in my car driving to work, and the rage I can sense next to him if we're stuck behind a cyclist. I'm
honestly,
like,
the car's
just
temperature
breathe.
raises like 9 degrees when we go past the cyclist because I'm just seething in the passenger.
I gotta lock the windows and wind them up so he doesn't like swear out the window or throw something.
I have been tempted. Holy Jesus. But one thing that would be on my manifesto at the moment, because I feel like a current affairs manifesto would be the most effective. So it's like shit that's going on now. I think everyone in Wellington should get a manifesto and just set their house on fire. It's the most efficient way to protest Chris Luxon getting paid to just own a house. Yeah. He's literally cracked the mortgage and he's now getting paid to own it.
Yeah, I've seen the headline. Can you explain what it is? I haven't looked into
basically,
some 51,000.
If you don't live
like
in, if your normal residence isn't in Wellington, you get an allowance to get somewhere to live in Wellington.
Okay.
He owns a house in Wellington, outright, mortgage paid, but that's not his primary residence. So he's getting paid as if like that would be money he could use to rent or to pay a mortgage off on a property in Wellington, and so it's an entitlement that he's got. But like, there's priors of like, I think Bill English was like, as soon as he found out that he was getting it, he like gave it back.
So you're saying if you had the opportunity to be given free money, you would turn it down?
Well, no, that's not. I'm not saying that. Like, if I was in his position, I was on that money. Yeah, probably. Yeah. If I owned the house already, like, yeah it's like reasonable.
You'd probably foresee
the
headlines and the problems that would come with it, right? And be like, maybe not.
But if I was a National Party MP, then fuck it. I'm already like, do your worst, cause like money. Everyone hates me already. So fuck it. I might as well earn the jersey, you know?
Yeah, like that headline's not going to stick long. You imagine, like National Party leader
does
wants more money
shit
for himself from poor people. Yeah, no, I mean,
community shock.
Like, oh, we've cut all of these things, and now we've got loads of money. So we're gonna if he increased what the allowance was, like just snuck it into like another bill, like, oh, like we're gonna do something that's massively detrimental to poor people, but also just slide in like a little paragraph like, oh, by the way, housing allowance is going up $75,000 a week.
Well, the funny thing with that is also because at times with them, you know, rolling back the whole smoking being the planning to try and get rid of smoking, and so they're going like, oh no, let's get that tax revenue back, and so it's literally the cigarettes paying for him, like, you know, 50k is what he gets. Yeah, it's 50k in cigarette money.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thought. Like, I don't really agree with banning cigarettes for people under a certain age. Like, there's a point where there'll be 32-year-olds that are like, I just want to buy a fucking pack of ciggies, but I'm banned forever. That's kind of bullshit.
I understand the reasoning, but the idea is that eventually it will just be the number will reach death, and no one
can buy cigarettes. I get that, but
like also, how many? Do you know how cool you have to be to smoke cigarettes at 9 years old now? Like, they're all vaping. Like, you have to be really cool to be smoking cigarettes. Like, they're like kind of cool for vaping now. I think it's like mainstream for a 9-year-old to be vaping. So
all the edgelords are smoking ciggies.
Plus, you can buy like 2 vapes for the price of a packet of ciggies, so it's actually just bad economics if you're in. But do you reckon? So, you know, when you were at school, people would like sell ciggies for like $1 or $2 or whatever. Yeah. Do you reckon, like, how does that translate to vape?
Kids just selling vapes, like just having heaps of disposables.
True. Do you reckon their parents are in on it? Like, I'm going to buy fuckloads of vapes and you're going to go make me some fucking money, little boy.
Forget selling chocolates at school, right?
I mean, there's always one school businessman. You know, there's always that one kid who's just like, they're just legit, like, just finessing
That's the charity. That's when I was at school, you got like the guys that went around with the chocolate boxes fundraising, and it's like just go around with like a box of smoke vapes.
Yeah, my brother used to go to the like wholesale stores and just buy hundreds of cans of Monster. They're like $1 a can, go around, sell them for $3.
Yeah, that's
entrepreneur. Fucking 12.
Because I legit remember, like, I deleted I had like a decent amount of savings, got an FPOS card, and just deleted it all on snacks in high school as soon as I had access.
Yeah.
So that's like there's a captive market there. Sell them anything. They're in school. They're bored. Anything that's just like, you know, it's not like
brightly coloured and within arm's reach.
And I think like also cycling back to that like age locking of you know, like cigarettes going like only making them available after a certain age. I think they should do that, but they should tier everything so that it means that, you know, everyone's got something to look forward to. So like at 30, you know, you can have a cigarette. Like 40, you just go buy a bag of gear from the dairy. 50, like mushrooms. Like just like and it means that because, you know, like everyone, there's this whole pessimistic outlook on life, and they're like, oh, you know, we're all going to live longer.
Surely, so like the ultimate boss is like at like 70, like you're not contributing to society anymore. Heroin.
Yeah, that would just like there's like DMT retreats or something, you know, all the all the bro Rogans out there, fucking like 80 years old, just like wilding out, having like a ego death in some cafe somewhere on Courtney Place.
I mean, it would definitely revitalise Courtney Place, and Lord knows it needs it.
I was thinking that today, going through. It's a fucking shithole, man.
It sucks.
People
so bad.
Pissing on the street, like construction everywhere you look, man. It fucking sucks.
I remember like the most. It's horrifying how vivid this memory is. But there was a brief period of time where, in between jobs, so I was leaving hospital and moving into like corporate. So I was moving into sales, and so I was working from like 8 p.m. until 4 a.m. at minibar, and then I was like had my suit in my bag and was walking to work and going to work at like 6 a.m, and I was walking along Courtney Place, and just by the Reading Cinema there's like this alcove, like in like the big like kind of dent in where you like with the pillars that you can go in, and I'm just walking up and I'm just about to get to it, and this like chick arse first backs out and just flat out shits on the floor on Quality Place, and I was just like, it's 6:30 in the morning, like what in the fuck is going on? And it's 6:30 on a Monday morning.
That's awesome though. That's almost, that gets to a point where it's like heroic. If it's at like 2 or like 1, it's like, oh come on, it's just like fucking sinister in the room. But you get to that point and it's like, whatever's just happened, like it's a story. If I did that, like, well, it's like, you remember the time. It's like, that's funny.
Yeah, when you put it like that. But she was by herself. Like, there wasn't like a plethora of people around being like, "Fuck yeah!" There was just a bunch of like horrified yo pros walking to work with their fucking Apple Watches on their face or whatever the fuck.
And I think if that's the sole feature, like that's the thing. If like there was like a kind of yin to the yang with the nightlife. If there was some kind of nice thing that counterbalanced that sinister element, but it seems to be largely sinister. Those are the sort of the features.
Maybe that's the tactic that they should take. Instead of trying to make the nightlife better, just make the day life so much worse that the nightlife seems appealing.
What do you think her manifesto would be? Why was she doing it? What was her goal? What was she trying to accomplish?
I think she was like, there's so many people just walking around on their phones, glued to their phones all day. She was like, just look up, motherfuckers. What do I need to do? Shit on the fucking floor for you to look up? And success. I looked up.
She wants us in the real world. She's trying to get us out of the metaverse.
Yeah, she just get us out of the matrix and get us focusing on what's important.
She might be a saint. She could be the next Wellington Blanket Man. Blanket woman, rather.
She could be. But we'll move swiftly into real news, which is our new segment, which normally Pac Jerry would champion as our resident reels and Twitter X conspiracy theorist, but in lieu of him, I will champion with a reel that I read through or listened to and then did some further reading on throughout the week, which was Jimmy Carr talking about the fall of empires, and he was saying that the Roman Empire didn't collapse. Like what the fuck happened to the Roman Empire? Like, they didn't like lose a series of battles and get beaten into submission. Like, they became the church. And like the British Empire, like, they quite competently didn't lose a lot of wars, barring like arguably Scotland and New Zealand, and like just started randomly giving people their land back and then became a bank. And I just thought that was a pretty interesting perspective. But then when you think about it, like the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, like very wealthy church.
I was gonna say, how much wealth is stored in the basements of the Vatican?
Who fucking knows?
Troves of gold and
you see
all kinds of cool shit.
You see the Da Vinci Code, and it's like, oh yeah, they've got like the fucking Ark of the Covenant or whatever fucking bullshit under there. It's like, and like all these documents, like historic. They've got the Library of the Vatican. It's like, fuck the Library of the Vatican. Go a floor lower and see the treasury.
It's just like Epstein's dream, just the like ultimate archive of unmolested kids preserved, just so much value.
Oh, just a guillotine to cut their heads off once they hit 16.
Yeah. Oh dear. There's so many like full circles of previous casts coming into one. But
that's a mad thought, though. That's a really mad thought.
Yeah, that's what's in the Vatican basement: gold, children, artwork.
I mean, they probably have to modernize. It'd pretty annoying. Like, you imagine having the Romans just running around now. Like, you can't keep doing the same thing.
I feel like they were pretty, compared to like modern warfare specialists, they were pretty rational, and they were at least upfront about what they wanted and why they were doing it. They were doing it because they just wanted everyone to be like, user the man. It was for the glory of Rome. Yeah. They were fighting to just fuck shit up and conquer the world.
It's funny how they just went to Ireland though. They got to like, I think it was like Ireland, and it was just too weird for them. Yeah. Like, it was just everyone, it was just like their families just like just fucking each other, like just real gory, grim shit. You know, just people covered in like blood paint come out screaming like
sniffing
naked
potatoes.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there. It's like, not them. We're not fighting to have them join us.
It's the same with ye olde Scots as well, though I think for different reasons. I think the Irish might have been potentially quite scary. I think the Scottish were just wildly incapacitated and just like lunatics. Yeah. It was just like, because their like prima nocta thing was like breeding out populations, and I think they just saw Scotland and we're like, fuck, this is like, there's a level of contamination that a gene pool can handle. And I don't think this level of contamination is suitable for the Roman Empire. We don't want like a bunch of half-breed Scots flooding into Italy. This is not ideal.
For like serial conquerors as well, that's quite like a harsh realization. It must have been so obvious that it's not a place you want to be.
Yeah, like just every country prior, they're like, fuck yeah, we'll take it, mean. And then they got to Scotland like, what resources have you got? Water and alcoholics and like shit weather and alcoholism. Fuck. We've got like a non-existent dragon in a lake though. Yeah, don't really want to fuck with that either.
Did that even exist yet at that point?
I feel like if the Loch Ness monster was gonna have existed, it would have. The further back you go, the more likely it is to have existed at some point.
It'd be sick if the world discovered like an apex predator. Just like a new one, you know, like
it's
a
just
tiger
on your
level
right
thing.
I don't know if it would.
Like a huge ass sea monster that's been just chilling many kilometers deep.
I don't know. Cause I feel like immediately it would be like King Kong level shit, where it'd be like, oh, we've got to capture it. Like we can't just let it roam around. There's no fucking way. If they found like some sort of like real life Gyarados in the sea, there's no fucking way that motherfucker is just going to be allowed to keep living its life. It's going to be in a fucking box getting its fucking fins chopped off.
It's not even been found at this point. Like how would they even capture it? Like we can't even send shit that deep without it imploding. Apparently,
that's true.
Dude, before it even got picked up, it'd just be turned into like medicine to give people erections. And like,
do you reckon it's actually not that hard to get that deep in the water, and the Vatican have actually just been storing all their children in Mariana's Trench and been like, oh yeah, it's too the pressure there. No, you won't be able to handle it. No. Like,
Epstein Island, just the tip.
Yeah,
and onto that tangent.
Epstein Island is just like conveniently right on the edge of Mariana's Trench. They've got a little trapdoor straight to the bottom.
Ask the guys that went down to see the Titanic.
Yeah, do you reckon
they got pretty swiftly obliterated?
I don't reckon. Or plot twist, they didn't get. That was just their like cover to disappear off the face of the earth and just live in the trench.
We are one with the trench.
I feel like it's almost synonymous. Like you can't be a billionaire and not a sus cunt. How many name a non-sus billionaire?
Well, shit must get boring when you have the whole world at your fingertips. You're not gonna like go for a run.
The whole world's at your fingertips, and you're like, well, I've run out of everything else. Better start fucking kids.
Better crash a Lamborghini or like do something ridiculous.
It's like, I mean, you think about the practical. Like, there's a point where like just the laws stop affecting you. You know, like say like with parking, for example. But you're like, oh, you know, you don't want to park without paying because you don't want to get the fine because that's what keeps you following the law. But then when you got billions of dollars, you know,
it's
speeding fines, parking fines,
funny money.
But then it just gets like it's it's beyond that because then you're not just able to pay the fines, you're able to pay the things to get around those fines and that system as well too.
Fucking sends you the fines, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like I mean, you could buy like officials, you could buy like say like the whole system kind of thing. But it's something where it's like you're not necessarily doing it willingly. You're just completely desensitized to that level of like sort of like punishment or like it sort of affecting you in any way.
True. That is mad.
How do you think you'd handle having that kind of money? Do you think you'd be able to stay?
I'd be dead, bro. I'd be so dead. If I had that level of money, I would live in a house made of bricks of cocaine.
Yeah.
It was like my house. I'd be able to like wake up in the morning and just fucking slice open a wall, rise and shine, baby. I'd have a heart attack in weeks.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I wouldn't do that. I'd probably obviously that's purely
do real altruistic things and donate to charity.
Fuck, honestly, this is going to be a hot take. Fuck donating to charity. Like, at a certain level, there's donating to charity, and then there's donating to like I'll donate to a charity where there's like I can see a tangible difference. But I've worked for charities, and I've seen how certain charities work. So the charity I worked for, it was pretty sound, and they like didn't outsource a lot of stuff. So like the money that people donated went to the cause that people thought they were donating to. But there's charities where it's like you're paying $20 a month, and the cunt that signed you up on the street or that fucking phoned you up and got you to donate to it's on $40 an hour, bro. What are you paying for?
Yeah.
Like there just has to be enough people paying the same amount as you are to pay them, and then someone. It's like, I don't know. If there was some sort of like direct to source sort of, obviously this is stupid. I'm gonna sound like an idiot, but like if there was a direct to like source thing where it was just like some guy in this place was like, I'm here, and I've got fuck all money, but I've got access to a bunch of resources that can make this situation better. Link me now. I'd send that cunt money, because he can then post up just being like, yo, here's all the shit I've bought, here's all the shit happening, instead of like this super corporate, I don't know, like some sort of like non-corporate charity
where they're just paying CEOs wages and
well, we're just taxing shit is like out of the equation, where it's like I send $80 to the bro there who's in that place where shit's going south. He's not getting taxed on it because I've sent him it through PayPal as a friends and family, and he's just got $60 that he can use to do stuff. Bosh, done. Like, because you go, like, some of the places, well, not there's a generalization, but a lot of the places where this shit's happening, like, you're going and buying things that are useful in person. Like, he goes to a bank machine, takes that out in cash, and goes and pays for things. Nobody is clipping the ticket on that money. And like, obviously with charities, they're tax exempt and blah, 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 blah. The charities are tax exempt, but they give the money to people who then go and buy things, and those things aren't tax exempt.
You have to think about what countries the money's being.
And also other issues. What if it's animals? Like, you're just going to give a kiwi $1,000?
Well, no, but
Kiwis don't have hands,
bro,
so they can't go spend money.
This has been well documented on the podcast thus far, but like, kiwis are cool and like Aotearoa, let's go, but they're also the most fucking redundant idiot species on the face of the earth. If they disappeared tomorrow, nobody would. People would initially care because they'd be like, oh no, it's gone, but like realistically, not how many are there in the wild, and the only thing that they're doing in the wild is feeding other species. And
admittedly as well too, you're kind of like, humans, we'll beat ourselves up a bit about extinctions, we're killing it, but then also you think about the like amount of meddling we do with natural selection, where it's it's just like it's a stomach with legs covered in feathers, that can't see.
Yeah.
And somehow we're like, no, you'll make it, you're gonna make it.
Did you know that the NZ Air Force, the logo is like a bullseye with a kiwi in the middle. So our Air Force has a flightless bird as its logo, and we have no fucking Air Force.
Yeah,
it's just incredibly.
It seems so fucking ironic to have that of anything.
Yeah,
as the fucking logo for the Air Force.
It would be like having like just a human torso as the logo for the Navy, just like no arms, no legs, can't swim, as the Navy.
Named Bob.
Yeah,
it's smart though, because then if you end up going to war with someone, they're like, oh, if you have like skulls and bones and shit, they're like, oh, these guys are spooky. We need to be prepared. But then if you just have some like gooby ass fucking logo or like icon, they're just like, dude, we don't even worry about these guys.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the like surprise nuclear arsenal that Chris Luxon's been building that no one knows about just comes flying across.
That works if we have a surprise nuclear arsenal.
I reckon that'd be cool. We should do that. Yeah. We should. I think that's like something we should just invent, because it would just be funny to just.
It's something that would be like possible. Obviously, it's highly improbable. But like with the whole like New Zealand's allied with the right countries where they could totally do that, and everyone would be like, "Oh, you can't."
We've got that image though of completely nuclear free, right?
Yeah, but like Sweden had the completely neutral, don't do anything, and now they're joining NATO. So like things change, and no one gives a shit. It kind of goes out the
window when the US go, look, we're putting our fucking boat in your harbour. It's wartime. Shut up about it.
The only country in the world that's ever told the Americans to fuck off in that respect is New Zealand, off the back of the Rainbow Warrior. So nuclear free. America's Navy and just their entire military operate on like a don't ask, don't tell policy. So like they have Navy ships that are nuclear powered or nuclear capable, and they have ones that aren't, but they won't tell you whether they are or not. And so that's why like New Zealand used to be like a really useful, really like strategic position for the Americans. And then when the Rainbow Warrior got blew up, New Zealand was like, fuck nuclear shit, we're nuclear free, get fucked. And then they turned around. Like the Americans tested the water a bit, sent like I think it was the USS Truxtun and another one, I can't remember what it's called, and told them to fuck off both times, because we were like, is it nuclear? And they were like, we're not telling you. And they're like, well, fuck off then, bro.
It's like just sending out ships with like chlamydia or something.
Just the entire. Well, I mean, that's
you
kind of
can
like
find out when it goes wrong.
Well,
we don't know.
And only then.
That's like the South American experience. The Spanish did that, but just with measles and gonorrhea.
That's bad exports.
They just sent
Really bad exports.
That's what they sent to when they
low profit.
That's what the conquistadors brought to South America, just STDs mostly, and the measles.
Death.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fucking mad.
Here's the thing. So with the Romans being the church, with the British being the bank, what were the Aztecs and shit? Because the Aztecs, so like, I'm not, obviously the conquistadors fucked up the Aztecs. The Mayans, sorry, they just fucking vanished. What did they do?
Didn't they just get completely overrun?
Taco Bell.
Spanish just come through.
Cocaine empire.
Oh, bro, that could actually be it. They just were like, whoa, we're being way too blatant, and like, look at us with all our shiny gold, when actually we've got this fucking drug that's mean. And so like, all the cartels are actually Mayan descendants. The Mayans just like descended, like became like in the shadows of things, just like, we're like, you guys can have all of this, have all the land, but we're gonna have all these farms with the coke, and we're gonna sell it to you. I
don't know. I wouldn't want to tie that to because it's like, I don't know. They'd be like, it sort of like glamorizes them in a way where it's like, you know, like now they have this like ancient traditional history. It's like they're like, you know, it's their traditional right.
Well, yeah, but it's what's in their land. Like, it's the same with the British. Like, they're like glamorizing the thing. Their traditional right is what, money. If they've just gone banks, like. If you've got a country that's got an extremely profitable export, why not fucking capitalize on it?
It's pretty funny though to like, I mean, it's you've got to respect that, like sending out all of that and then having like the US and the West be like, drugs, and it's like, you know, you gave us like measles and whatnot,
yeah, and we're giving you a good time.
Have one back. Here, try this. It's gonna be great.
And I don't know what they're complaining about.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's the fentanyl.
Do you know what would fentanyl problem? Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of cocaine. Is like, the problem with cocaine is that everyone doesn't do it. If everyone did it, there'd be no issues, because everyone would be like, fuck, this is amazing. But there's just a bunch of people that don't do it, that make it shit for everyone.
So they're saying drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
But like, this is the thing, again, tracks back to the whole thing of you age lock drugs. And then if it's like, you know, you get to 60 and you can have that.
How old do you have to be to get cocaine?
I reckon 30 is a great age to be allowed cocaine.
Yeah, because then it's like because 30 is like a kind of like conventionally like a miserable age to get to. Like, you spend like, oh no, I've turned 30, man.
They're
but
all
like,
sad about
oh,
it.
I'm really sad about 30. Jokes, I'm fucking
Everyone's now loving turning 30.
But what do you have after that? What do you have? Then you've just got like, it's. I feel like that's peaking too early. Like, that's like just you know, finishing your box at 7 p.m. kind of thing. Like, well, you know, you span it, and then like you get to 40 and you're just throwing up in the bathroom and it's 11 p.m.
Well, coke in terms of like conventional drugs is like, it's like the don't do that, but like there's so many worse drugs out there, like, well, not even worse, but just like more highly the worse.
Well, cocaine's supposed to be not physically addictive, like it's habit forming, but there's no like physically addictive properties. Like, you don't go into withdrawal from cocaine.
That
it's like that and marijuana, they're one of the only two sort of heavy drugs.
I think there's definitely there's even if there isn't.
I might be wrong, but
I feel like you're definitely wrong. I feel like there's definitely withdrawals from cocaine.
Yeah, even if there isn't like, even if there's not those like mechanical physiological ones, there is still very much that like mental placebo, because it's like, say, like we all know someone who's like, you know, they've got to smoke like 5-6 cones a day just to function, or else like just go loopy kind of thing.
Yeah, that is a weird one. So with the reels that you brought up, I wanted to touch on some that I'd seen this week. I was hit pretty aggressively at work by a reel of just a woman, like an OnlyFans woman, just pulling both her tits out on my phone.
You're just ambushed.
Just ambushed. Just like slapped in the face from the side.
No volition, no choice of your own. It just arrived.
So
legitimately, no.
This is legit. I'm not out on Instagram Reels searching for this stuff.
I hope you're okay. You coping all right?
Genuinely.
This is the crazy part, is that she just drops, like, nudity's not allowed, right? I assume those are the rules on Instagram, but she's got like a doll, a baby doll, and she's got like breastfeeding for educational purposes only. So she just pulls her tits out, flaps them around a bit, and then pushes this baby's mouth to one of her nipples. And that's it. These are the videos. And I lost my mind, because that's like such a great ruse to get around it.
The best
and
bit.
just end up posting just
her bio is just a link to OnlyFans. It's
She's found an exploit.
Genuinely not incredible as in like, wow, this is amazing, I love it, but just it's genuinely like by definition incredible. Like, how the fuck is that a thing?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh no, it's educational, and there's one of them. So
I sent them all to Jake, by the way. You can tell.
I saw it. She whaps her Babylons out, and she's got this baby like motorboated between her tits, and then just pulls it out. Has like 2 or 3 seconds where she's just fucking shaking milkers, and then just puts the baby to it. And then I think that was the first one that I saw, and then I looked in the bio and I was like, OnlyFans. Looked on the story, and it's just like links to her and her mate's OnlyFans, and I'm like, you've actually cracked it. Like, that's genius.
Yeah.
But like. And apparently, Paz was saying apparently Twitter is going wild about it as
about
well.
that.
Yeah.
Is it like a new thing? Because I mean,
I
only saw it this week.
It's like a new trend thing, and like because it puts Instagram in like a very interesting position where there is it like if they ban it for nudity, like as much as like whatever is advertised in the bio is irrelevant. If she puts it's for educational purposes, and she's got a doll that is designed for showing people how to, like, you can't say it's fucked. But like,
even though it's obvious,
I feel like I'm gonna sound like I've thought this in my head and immediately thought dumbass, but now I'm gonna think it.
Say it.
But like, my point is more like is how does seeing a chick get her tit sucked by a plastic doll help you in any way?
Like me personally?
And no, but like as like how does that help anyone? That would be like, there's no equivalent.
There's no male equivalent to that.
But like, I don't know. Cursed chat.
I can't say it's helped me a lot in day-to-day life, but still, like, it's, maybe one day it could be a useful lesson. I'm open-minded. I could get breasticles one day.
You could.
It's just scary being able to, like, you have a look at a few reels sitting at eating your lunch at work, and then you're hit with nudity, and it's like, fuck. Could you get fired for that?
Oh, was that in The Office?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that's funny. You just get
fucked
the
up,
over the shoulder surprise.
Like, if someone's looking at that, they're like, what are you doing?
Is it like, does she have to put, maybe that's what Instagram get her on, or she didn't put NSFW on it, she just said for educate. Or
like
because also if you're a dude and it pops up in your Instagram reel, like, it doesn't matter how educational it is, it's not really educational for you, is it? Like,
in the slightest.
Like, I don't imagine the way that a baby sucks a tit being particularly enjoyable for if it's an adult male doing.
You're saying I could never breastfeed?
I'm pretty confident you could never breastfeed. Like,
men can lactate.
I'm willing to die on that hill.
It's like men lactate as a thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's much nutritional value. I don't know what actually comes out, but it's like a thing that can happen.
You take enough steroids and something's gonna come out of your nipples.
Yeah, I'm
probably
not gonna do steroids though.
Power.
Like, but maybe if I start. Also, if you start lactating, surely you just fucking like the natural circle of life for that is you use that milk, protein powder, bish bash bosh.
If you did steroids and lactated, would you drink your own milk?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
You'd have to try it.
Would it be like steroid ridden milk? Like, it would just be like cycle of on.
This, like, you become like this sort of Toyota Prius. Human beings just like self-maintaining. They have eternal power.
Just start selling it to mothers with kids and get their kids real jacked.
Bro, no, sell it to horny dudes. Be like, breast milk. You don't have to gender it. You just sell breast milk online. Imagine being a horny dude, because they're out there and they buy like breast milk and bath water and stuff.
They can
imagine being like,
breast milk and
make your own.
You realize your hookup. No, you realize that your hookup one day they get busted and it was like a dude. You're like, dude.
You've been ordering like dirty underwear from him.
Is that like? Would that be like a switch where you're like, oh fuck, no, I'm gonna actively search for male breast milk? Like,
no, that's the moment when you crash your car into a 9-year-old on a cycle,
and your
on a bike,
and your manifesto is like, it's bullshit. They should be advertising their breast milk legitimately. Fuck these guys.
Open market for breast milk.
This fucking insider traded bullshit's fucked me up.
Oh,
and now, sport. So first up on the sports list, Connor, would you like to take the lead?
I'll kick it off.
We briefly touched on it last week. Oh fuck yeah, there's two Connors.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm outnumbered, guys. Fuck. But Boydicus.
Yeah, I was really interested. So I read an article. For those of you that don't follow too much football, Kyle Walker is one of the best left backs,
right backs.
backs, yeah,
Come on.
in the world. Plays for Man City, and he's had a secret family behind the scenes, where he's had like his wife, his kids, and then he's been off with some Instagram model, reproducing and keeping it real on the sly. And Manza's been found out, and there's been a whole expose, and he's come out and done this big documentary about how fucked up it is.
But do you make a documentary?
Well, they did they exposed him, and then he's come and like done a big interview about it all, and I'm just shocked. Like,
he's just kind of owned it. I'm kind of here for it.
How do you think you could ever get away with that?
Who cares, bruv? His arse is lined with
but
diamonds.
He thought he would get away with it.
Yeah,
it's just like you're fucking insane. The whole world, you get caught doing anything.
I think he'll say he thought he was going to get away with it, but realistically, he knew at some point he was getting caught. Like at some point, that was going to be a problem. Even if it was like years down the line, those kids are going to grow up and they're going to be like, "That's my like." He's not going to be able to tell that kid like, "Oh, you can't tell anyone I'm your dad." Like,
bro, Arnold Schwarzenegger got away with it for so many years. They found out he had like a 13-year-old, just another family with the maid. And he was just paying her to shut the fuck up.
Don't say anything about it. I will squash you.
But yeah, it's so loose. Like, but I don't know. I feel like.
So you're more along the lines of respect.
Nah, not necessarily respect, but just, like not respect as in like, yes, you fucking nailed it, kid, but just like fucking big ups for trying, bruv. Like, well done. Like, you would have got away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids. Like, but nah, it's just like, fuck, it's crazy.
It'd be crazy having your whole life just in the public eye all the time.
Well,
like that, yeah.
I think if you're a professional footballer at that level, you could probably just be openly polygamous. Like, you could genuinely just maintain multiple... When you've got that level of, like, fame and money, there'll be probably some people who are content with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's... Maybe this could be... He could be in some... Like, somewhat of, like a pioneer in that sense, and that... genuinely... Like, if you think about it, right? The new generations of all these younglings... But the new generations, like, all this, like polygamy and, just general fluidity of like sexuality and all that sort of shit. Like we're the our generation like is like the middle ground where it's like all that shit was kind of being like all the like marriage kind of stuff was like we're actually not really all about that kind of thing. Like some people still do it, but like in the future, marriage is on the decline. Like people are realizing like, oh fuck, it's a bit of a scam. Like it's like. It's on a downtrend. People are more free, I guess, in that sort of sense. Like they're discovering new things, and that's only going to increase. So, yeah, I don't know. It could be like there's definitely in the foreseeable future going to be a footballer who does just have like 3 girlfriends. They're all aware of each other. They're all sound about it. Like it is guaranteed to happen at some point, and chances are at some point one of them will be one of the best footballers on the planet, and they won't be shy about it.
I'm gonna be honest. I think you'd still be like. I think you're just permitted scumbag, but you're still like. I don't know, if you're doing that kind of it, just sort of like.
Yeah, but that's now.
I still think that's better than trying to hide it though.
Yeah, in a bunch of years, in 10, I don't know, like 10, 15 years, like that whole. Like being a scumbag thing, like even the fact that it's now got like, I mean, I assume the title predates like my knowledge of it. Obviously, like I'm not fucking the all-seeing, all-knowing, but like polygamy has, in my mind, or from my perspective anyway, has only really entered the mainstream in like the past, like, I don't know, 10 years as like a thing like that everyone has heard of. And so as that increases, as the pool of people who are aware of it increases, like the pool of people that it will potentially appeal to increases. And so the public opinion will probably not necessarily shift to like everyone's like, yes, please, I like only polygamy, but like there'll be like a much more like a greater tolerance of it, where people aren't like, oh, you've got 3 girlfriends, you scumbag, or oh, you've got 4 boyfriends, you scumbag. Like it's or like where I don't know. I feel like at some point there's going to be a sports star who's like, yeah, I'm polygamous. What are you going to do about it? And power to him.
Amen.
Kyle Walker, just fucking get another.
Somehow the concluding point is like he's a pioneer, like utter bastard to his like partner. But like it's I do get that as well too.
Like surely now that he's been outed, it's like get another one. You've been outed for 2. Like, the sky's the limit, baby.
I mean, I suppose in terms of like
You're on
legal
£800 a
redress
week.
for the like partners and what, like, say if they're if they're married, like you can like get fair divorce settlement and whatnot, and like fucking I don't know. There's still like a kind of a justice for it for the person who was cheated on. It is still like nonetheless as started out on
the unaware, like them not being aware of each other is like the kind of the crime in this case.
Yeah,
but like the actual having 2 misses, like fucking do what you want. If I was on that much money and could afford to have multiple wives, mate, Mormon me up, I'd be there.
I'm just gonna say as a disclaimer to my girlfriend, I completely disagree with all sentiments regarding polygamy. This is an academic conversation and does not apply to my views on day-to-day life.
That's fair. In other criminal sporting news, though, Paul Pogba banned from football for 4 years for doping.
How do you dope and be that bad at it? What's the point?
Well, see, so this was me and Conor were talking. Me and Boyd were talking about this earlier.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And me and Boyd were talking about this earlier, and I did like some diving and had a look at some articles, and so like the last couple years like of his career have been like by pretty much every conceivable metric mid-tier, but he's not played more than 22 games a season since 2019.
It's been,
but his career as a whole, he's won a World Cup. He's won the Europa League. He's won the FA Cup. He's like in terms of goals and assists, when he was like on form, he was on form. He went back to Man United, and like Man United at the period of time that he was there, and arguably still a little bit at this point, they're maybe on the way out of it now with the likes of Garnacho and Dalot. Dalot's been there for the whole time, but he's doing bits. But like Man United has been a bit of a giant killer. Like they've signed big players and just fucking murdered them.
Sancho, prime example.
Ronaldo didn't even do badly. He did like pretty well and was still like maligned and chastised. I mean, admittedly, he did go on an interview and say like, "This is bullshit." But you find me a Man United fan that doesn't agree with the way he said it, poorly, admittedly. But what he was saying was just the owners are dickheads. Like, find me a Man United fan that doesn't agree.
Yeah. You won't.
I love Man United so much. Not because I like the club, but because the circus is just amazing. Like every time, it's just because it's something that just keeps going in a way where it's, I thought like 2-3 years ago that it just something would, and say like Ten Hag comes in or like Solskjaer comes in.
Someone was going to solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, but it just keeps getting more and more messy. And the thing is like again, it's just that like, I don't know, sort of the morbid humor of just going like, it's, once a great, and then now it's sort of the soap opera.
Well, it's kind of, I think like the thing that I'm realizing is that football works in cycles, and that's just the way it is. And like when you've got like you look at Arsenal, you look at Man United, like they had like dynasties under managers, and like with Man United they had like an extremely successful, consistently successful, pretty much dynasty. Arsenal had like a vaguely successful stint in a dynasty where they did like just not terribly for a bit, like, but at the end of that it's just like the game management post that. And at Man United, like Arsenal had the same thing a couple years later, and we kind of just learned from Man United's mistakes. We're like, oh fuck, maybe we should just stick to a manager, like
that's it,
do some things. And like whereas Man United were just chewing up and spitting out some of the best managers in world football for a laugh.
You have to be consistent with a manager. Fergie didn't win any silverware for his first 3 years. He was
Klopp didn't win anything at Liverpool for the first 4 years.
You have to be consistent with a manager and give them actually time to implement their vision, their views.
Yeah.
I also think as well too, like in terms of the cyclical note regarding club success. Perhaps success, but not dysfunction. This is the thing. Like this is like with their like, and even say like I don't know, like Chelsea to some degree
Chelsea
as well,
at this point,
where it's like it's it's one thing sort of you have a winning team, and then your best players go, and then sort of you've got to rebuild slowly. You might have a new manager, new tactics, new sort of structure, but that doesn't necessarily warrant becoming a circus.
Yeah.
And like say even like with like Man United, they lost to fucking Fulham 2-1. And then, like, senior players came to the staff the next day and were like, "Can we have the day off, please? Can we have the day off?" And like, it's just shows you. I don't like. It's just like everything.
Everything from top to bottom.
As soon as apparently
I think Rashford's becoming a cancer as well.
Well, Rashford, like This is going to be a contentious statement, but he's like a luxury player to United in the same way. He's like a Mercedes, but like the car's been badged and someone's keyed it. Like he is capable of being sick on his day, but he's afforded way too much respect to the point where it's like, realistically, like if someone else came along that played in that position, if they like, it would not surprise me if he goes somewhere else at the end of the season and they replace him.
Or defend in the slightest, man. And like, I get it, he doesn't want to play centre forward. He wants to be on the wing.
Isn't he? I think he's just like a FIFA or like a Football Manager's player, where like people rate him based on his potential.
Yeah,
they're like, he's like FIFA says he's
on
got
his day he's
90 potential. Yeah, but that's the thing, is like it's not consistent. He's not there yet. But he's not like a 19-year-old fucking kid anymore. Like but he's playing like one, isn't
he? Yeah, well, he's like one of the most established players at United at the moment. Like who in that squad? I'm not a Man United fan, so I can't really speak to that super accurately. But I don't really, when I think Man United at the moment, it's
no one
Mr. Man United is Rashford at the moment.
It has to be. I mean, actually, Johnny Evans.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the other, like, just that was the logical option for Man United. Like, sign Johnny Evans.
Was he playing for Leicester? Did he just get relegated?
I think so.
He was a free agent, and they just grabbed him.
They picked up Johnny fucking Evans,
and then he actually had, there was a huge performance. I remember, like, he had a heroic performance, in the Euro leagues or something. Like he of all the players, 38-year-old, 76 rated FIFA player, comes in and he's the Man United hero. But I think what they should do,
his competition, like the two best centre backs they have are injured, and his competition's Harry Maguire, who, despite like not doing terribly, it doesn't, like, if I went and played centre back for Man United and had a bad game, I'd get some shit. But if Harry Maguire does one thing that's even remotely shit, he gets fucking filleted.
He did the U-turn though. He started like he's you've got
to
appreciate
U-turn,
that.
You mean he's just stopped scoring on goals and giving the ball away as clumsily, so consistently. He still gives the ball away clumsily, but just not as much.
Because I used to Google Harry Maguire, and it would just be every like, and this is for me being in tune with the circus, me wanting to just see what's going on with Man United, because it just seemed like every week there'd be an own goal, there'd be a howler, there'd be something. But you've got to like credit to him, because he stuck through it. He didn't just pulver it out and go like, I'm sad, I'm gonna make a documentary about how you're being mean to me and I'm the best. Like, he literally, and now he's fucking solid.
The fact is though, he's just not good enough. Like he's doing fine, but it's like, it's just
Man United is a cursed
world class.
Is a cursed club at the moment.
Well, they're just buying FIFA players. That's the thing. Is like they're just like, oh yep, you did good last season.
Playing
we
manager
get you.
mode.
Nah, that's Chelsea. Come on,
Chelsea. Chelsea are ultimate.
United to a degree as well, but Chelsea
have done it like so badly and so well at the same time. Like they're in the trenches at the moment, but they look like they've got the glint in them of like danger. Like they are getting rid of one or two players that they gambled and lost on, and getting one or two players that aren't those fucking FIFA players in from being a fucking dangerous team. Like 12th, the fact that they're 12th in the league is genuinely mind-boggling, especially like obviously man for man, outrageous squad, but just the fact that like it's that comes back to that, like giving a manager a chance is like, Poch has got a proven ability to take a team that is a fucking turnip and make it skax.
Yeah, and like, look at how it's going.
Yeah,
like they spent $1 billion. That's your cocaine house on your island. That's what you were saying you would do.
Yeah,
that's like they've got they've got this like cocaine football training academy,
and they're not slicing open the walls and sniffing it every morning. They're just looking at it and being like, "Fuck, that's dank."
Yeah, going out just like they're just like copping L to Burnley or just score no goals for like it's like it. You kind of, again, that's another one where I look at it and as a I just want to see it fail because it's funny.
Watching Chelsea do badly. I can't lie. Like,
I love it so much. They're my least favourite club.
One of my favourite, like behind Tottenham, one of my favourite clubs to see do badly. Speaking of Tottenham, Harry Kane at Bayern Munich has left to go and win trophies at Bayern. Unlikely to win a trophy this season thanks to Xabi Alonso and Bayer Leverkusen. And but he is likely to win a trophy this season, and that is the top scorer trophy, which I saw an article about the other day. It is a wooden plinth with a 1800s era cannon on it. So the Bros winning an Arsenal logo for being top scorer of Bayern. It's fucking, you could not script something that fucking funny. I can't remember the name of it. It's whatever the German football paper, I think it's Bild or something like that, or Go sponsored the thing, and it's just this antique cannon trophy, and Harry Kane's winning an Arsenal relic for being top scorer in a team that didn't win the league.
I think this is the thing about this is where, so even if you how people say might watch football and they're like, I don't enjoy the sport itself, but if you follow enough, then it kind of becomes this Game of Thrones-esque thing. There's these ongoing dramas, these funny stories that say the circus of Man United and Chelsea. That's the whole narrative.
There's more
of Harry Kane.
more to the game than just what happens on the pitch.
And it's if you follow it enough, you understand it enough, it becomes this this drama, the highs, the lows.
Has that always been the case though? Do you know? I think that's potentially to do with the advent of social media or just mass media in general. I feel like that there was an element of it. If you go back to I don't know, who would be your kind of media, took the media by storm, Gascoigne,
Beckham,
but just
bro.
for being Beckham obviously
Beckham.
pioneered it. But as in we're big in the media, but outside of, for their antics outside of football, Gascoigne. But most of them were just known for their antics on the pitch, and it was people just were all about the football as opposed to the wider story.
I mean, I'd say it's definitely a new phenomenon. I don't know, 50 years ago, footballers would just be 40-year-old smokers who were part-time and then would be the milkmen.
Drinking lager at half time. But yeah, it's a changing, ever changing and ever evolving sport. In the vein of changing and evolving, moving swiftly over to Formula One, where the biggest news in the history of news in Formula One for years, as far as I can remember, has just happened. Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes 7-time championship winning driver, has signed a deal to drive for Ferrari next season. So this season is his last season at Mercedes. If you've watched, I won't spoil the new season of Drive to Survive, but essentially it's fairly well documented that Hamilton and Russell have been pretty unhappy with Mercedes' car. They basically fucked the design, and once you lock in the design for the season, that's your whack. You're allowed some adjustments and some upgrades, but there was no upgrade in that car. It's fucked. So they've got a new car this season that kicks off at, we're recording this on Saturday, so the Bahrain Grand Prix is at 4 a.m. New Zealand time tomorrow. Hamilton's 8th on the grid, Russell's 4th. Verstappen, as usual, is top of the grid. But I was looking at it and I was thinking, how funny would it be if Lewis Hamilton does a Harry Kane and he goes to Ferrari to win titles, and Ferrari just shit the bed and Mercedes do alright and end up mid-table, and it just ends up being, interestingly, Red Bull and Aston Martin just going hammer and tong.
And it does make you think, as when you knowing a little bit about Formula One, if you were to, for a nutritional supplement, either consume Harry Kane or Lewis Hamilton's lactate milk as a muscle builder.
Lewis Hamilton all day long.
Really?
But it's championship winning milk.
That's true.
Harry Kane ain't won anything other than top scorer.
The only thing
That's
that would
true.
grow
There's
would be
greatness
your jaw
in that milk.
if you drank Harry Kane's milk.
Has Harry Kane, this, I don't want to get caught out by someone being actually you missed it, but has Harry Kane won a team trophy? Have they won anything?
I don't think so. He's played for Tottenham since he was youth, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not youth, but
yeah, he started off at Arsenal, I think.
Yeah,
or no, or he
that.
was just an Arsenal fan. I don't know. I've seen him in an Arsenal shirt and just been haha, you wish.
Did he have wet patches?
Probably. Yeah, he could be lactating. Oh,
yeah,
true.
that could be, because that's
Plot
the thing.
thickens.
If he has a high lactate rate, then perhaps
Lewis Hamilton wears racing leather, so you can't really tell.
Oh, true. And then he could also have it hooked up because he's in the whole costume, so he could just be
he's
sucking
got
away
breast
as he's
pumps ready
going.
to go.
He's just that's
Maybe
happened.
that's how he wins.
Well, he's stopped winning recently, so maybe
true.
with
He's
the new
stopped
law
lactating.
changes, they checked under the suit potentially.
That's going to be the next evolution in the weird breastfeeding reels. Is going to be people with pumps showing you how to
just
pump.
Lewis Hamilton getting his tits out and
Just
having a baby.
These sucking machines, just
I've never seen. Do people do it and then just drink it themselves?
Yes.
Is that because I've
Yeah,
never I haven't gone looking for it as a thing, so I don't know if it's
I
phenomenal.
can't remember if it was like
But
weird.
Connor has.
I can't remember if it was
At
like
work.
weird weekends or that. There's some documentary that I watched which was like, yeah, I think it was Weird Weekends, but Lee through, if you're listening, feel free to correct me. But there was someone went and spoke. It's like these people who like swear by it, like the mum has a kid, and like the kid, the mum, and the dad are all just fucking drinking that sweet titty
They're
juice.
just self-sufficient.
I mean, like it's economical. Like don't.
And I think this is, these again are like the important questions that we have to be discussing in relation to Formula One. Also, another one regarding that. If I need to pee while we're on the podcast, what happens? Do I just pee myself? Do you have a bag? Do I like?
There's a bathroom over there. Like, I would you're more than welcome to pee yourself, but if you do, like, you have to clean it up. I'm not doing that.
If I've already started peeing, what do we do? And by we, I mean you.
I will do nothing. You will bathe in your urine for the rest of the episode, and then you will clean it up at the end, and I will sit and go, yep, that just happened.
And on that bombshell, it's time to go to the bathroom.
That's fair. While you're away, we shall discuss the cursed yarns for
Yes, we will.
for the week. So yeah.
So moving on to cursed yarns then. So what cursed yarns do you have? I'm very interested to hear.
Well,
Apart from your normal day-to-day cursed yarns, just speaking.
my cursed yarns are pretty extensive, but my cursed yarn for this week is if you were to rewrite laws, what things that are currently illegal would you legalize, and what things that are currently legal would you illegalize?
Murder.
Make
You
it
would,
legal.
you would legalize it.
Yeah.
I imagine it'd be a very short trip.
Elaborate.
Yeah, spell that.
No, that was just a provocative. I have no policy follow-up on that. But I don't know. What would I legalize or illegalize?
Well, the idea surely is that like the way these laws come into place is like you elect an official that speaks for the majority, right? That's the whole idea. They then come up with laws. You voted them in, and that's how it all like.
Does
so
that still
people
happen?
that, yeah, well, that you said like who made up these laws? Like it's these people that someone might be very against drugs. The majority of people vote them in. Now all the policies for that area are very anti-drug. So it's I guess it's the majority.
It's like fundamentally populist.
Yeah.
Well, this is surely though then like, so with like the weed referendum, what I don't understand is like why aren't all the like why are we fucking around with having a parliament? Like why don't like when all like obviously every single like have a parliament that deals with all the fucking laws no one can be arsed with changing, like oh yeah a bylaw about putting bus stops on the side of the road or whatever. But every major law, like if you can have a referendum, what's the fucking point in having parliament deciding for you? Because realistically there's not a single electorate in the country where the MP voted for them represents the interests of everyone in that electorate. The fairest way to get a good measure on whether something happens or not across the entire country is to referendum it. And I'm not saying referendum everything, but like if there was like it would be very hard. Like, yeah, you should. More things should be referendum. I think
that's actually a very good point. It's not something I'd thought about before, but I was talking about it earlier with regard to Wellington's like nightlife and our dysfunctional council and how it's a reactive government rather than like a proactive one.
Government. Yeah.
So they wait for people to just make angry noises. They're like, the nightlife's shit. The nightlife shit. They email the mayor, put like posts up and stuff, and then it's like, say with the pipes, for example.
Fucking waste of time now.
She's on the piss, bro. She's not paying. No, she's sound, bro. It's at least she's out drinking. At least she's out going in the real world doing something. She's not just sitting in like a.
She seems like a real person.
It's interesting the media response. Like I don't know exactly what happened, but there was alleged misdemeanors at Havana Bar, that were of a sexual nature.
No, the bar owner commented on her post going, there was like you had like a few drinks, you were fine, there wasn't a problem, and like I think
true. Was it like a stitch-up job?
I think that was due. It just would have been like, again, and this is why I'm kind of stoked that there's the whole news hub collapse going on at the moment. Is like that sort of, I don't know, in lieu of doing like actual investigative journalism, just going like, oh, this headline will sell. This sort of I don't know, like stuff where it's like it's just sort of like inconvenient disinformation
clickbait.
as opposed to stuff where it's like
But
like it's 4 clicks.
As much as that is the case, News Hub's also like the primary, like we're in the process now of moving into an era where most of the media in this country is state-owned or is a partially state-owned enterprise. Like Radio New Zealand, state-owned, TV NZ, state-owned.
TVNZ's going as well. Radio New Zealand do a good job.
Is that TVNZ? Am I talking shit?
No, TVNZ has made massive losses.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, one of them is owned by like Warner Disney.
That's TV3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's News Hub.
But like it's, I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing because I think like everyone's kind of, you know how like there's sort of the thing that's generally accepted as like the contemporary stuff headline, which is just some like random piece of garbage nonsense. It's you know, it'll just be like a non-headline. It's just like dog in tree, people sad. It's like there's stuff that's worth looking into in like every little town, every like, you know, stuff like say like with the like state of the nightlife, with things even, you know, like the Love Not Lost owner, that character kind of thing. Like there's so many things where it's like if there was effort put in, then like I don't know, so like it's sort of people stop paying attention to it, people stop backing it because it stops being good. People won't buy a product if it's shit.
Well, I think across the board, like news media is on a downward trajectory. Like I haven't like watched general like the news in donkeys. Like I look on I'll go on news websites for sure, but like actual TV news.
I've been staying at home in Hamilton. Mum and Dad watch the news, and latest time I did like the only sort of national news story was them going to like Napier Hastings to kind of do like a review of the like flood aftermath and go like people are like still having like consequences from it having happened. Yeah, that's not news. Like we know that happened. Like yes, you know, it's good that the story's being told if it helps them to get some kind of aid if they need it.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you know, as being a news service, like, you know, you compare that to, say, stuff where it's like, sort of, again, investigative, finding stuff where it's like pressing and also doing something in terms of like actually achieving something, doing something like forward looking with regard to your journalism. Because those are the ones, you know, those are the, like the journalist heroes kind of thing. The people who like break something where it's like we look to them and go, you know, that as a means of correcting, say, wrongs in society or bringing awareness to them. Not, you know, like, oh, like they're having a bad time or like the cat's lost.
What makes David Farrier so palatable and so easy to watch and so good at what he does. Like the stories that he comes out with are not like, they're not going to change the world a lot of the time. Like I'm not sure if you saw his one. I think it was called Tickle. Amazing.
Have you seen Mr. Organ?
Mr. Organ, amazing.
Because the thing I think the thing that's compelling about it is that even if it doesn't necessarily resolve something, it applies to, because he reminds me of like my experience with working with a bar owner, where he's sort of people who have experienced, you know, like say those sort of people with antisocial personality disorders, they can sort of look at that and go like, yeah, like I understand that, I feel valid like in that, and it's not necessarily, I don't think those are news per se, they're more interest pieces. But I think, you know, and it's all well and good, like it's good to do those. It's good to do those. But if you're a news business, you know, do those, but also do
news. Real news. Like news is you're a news business. Your business is
important and makes an impact on everyone's.
But then also, like this is the thing with state media dominating the market in New Zealand is very much run the risk of that becoming the norm. Is where like even like it can all be biased. Like with Radio New Zealand, it's a little bit different because they're like almost like an agency, so like they have to remain apolitical, but like they only remain as apolitical as they're allowed to be. I mean, there was a guy at Radio New Zealand that was just getting all of his articles from like Russian state media and was like low-key polluting the minds of New Zealanders with like Russian propaganda.
It's getting algorithmed.
Yeah, like the bro got algorithmed and then just algorithmceptioned like half the country.
Bro, I'm just imagining like some like high up RNZ official, and he's just like been like fully 4chan'd out of fucking looking at like soy jack memes of Americans going like, oh my god.
It's very much a reality. But yeah, that got sussed out pretty quick.
Circling back to any law that you would change, do you have an answer?
Oh, myself personally, yeah, I do.
Yeah, should I say mine first, or do you want to?
Oh yeah, go on.
So I was thinking money laundering.
You'd let it happen.
I'd let it
Legalize
happen. You already have the money. Fucking, what's
Yeah,
the worst
like,
that can happen?
so like if you commit a crime that makes you lots of money,
Yeah.
and we haven't caught you,
you
fair.
should be allowed to do what you want with that money. Or another one, print your own money.
Do you pay tax on it?
Oh.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
The problem is the tax side. That's why they want you.
You pay.
well, like if you're
GST
laundering
on
it,
shit you
like when
buy.
it comes out the other side, it's clean money, so you
Yeah.
spend it like normal money.
Like you sell drugs, you imagine you
Yeah.
sell 500k of drugs.
Yeah.
If you were to legalize, if you say instead of like money laundering, do they just declare it and pay taxes on
Declare
it?
it, pay taxes. You won the lottery.
That's
a shit idea, but it's just a funny one, I guess.
My one's way more cursed than that. I reckon you decriminalize drugs,
Yeah.
but you make the penalty for loads of that. I'm not going to go into specifics because it would require going through the entire law code and being like this, and this. But I reckon the death penalty.
The death penalty. I thought you were
Bro,
going to say something about age of consent.
Bro,
I got
you
worried.
wanna
I was worried.
Nah,
We're
but like even that, like you wanna beat your wife, dead. You wanna touch kids, dead. Like that's
Yeah.
you want to take the risk. That's the reward you're getting
go
if you get
hard
caught.
on them,
Like
yeah.
crime will significantly decrease if there's just a straight. You'll be fucking like you get caught. It's end of story. There's no
The
like
China policy.
the necessity of like clear cut evidence would be like supreme. Is like if we've got like we've done all the tests or we've got footage or
Yeah.
blah blah blah, like you're dead. If there's not concrete evidence that you did it, then it's
You can still be
life in
convicted,
prison.
but you might get
Yeah.
prison time. for
like
example.
life in
Yeah.
prison. But like if you
we
fucking
don't wanna
like
get
you
this wrong.
fucking did it, see you later. That's my hot
Even
take.
without it being cursed, multiple time sex offenders. I think just castration could be a good thing in general.
Yeah, but I don't
They
know.
let
'cause
them out and they go and
castrating
commit
them
again.
castrating them doesn't stop them committing sex offences.
It doesn't.
Well,
I
no.
thought it just removed that whole aspect of their.
They still got like in order to stop someone doing sex offences, you're gonna have to chop off their dick, their arms, their legs, everything.
Yeah.
Like
I had a mate
there's
who was castrated and kept doing it. It was weird.
yeah.
It was annoying. You got kick on.
Fuck, they let him keep his hands. What a
That's the
fucking
thing, because
nightmare.
you get the genitalia initially, then he comes at you with his hands. So he lost his hands. Government take his hands. Then he comes at you with his feet. He's like wiggling his toes at you to take those off, and then he's just coming at you with his stumps. And it's just like it's even worse when there's stumps because those are just blunt
You can't
force.
speak anymore 'cause they took
Basically,
his
if you
tongue
get
right
done
away.
for sex offences, it's just all extremities removed. Like that's it.
Like,
Like
it's like a head in the sand.
Just take their eyes. That surely solves
That
it.
would be actually. That's kind of the. Yeah, but then you've just got all these blind molesters walking around with their hands
looking
up.
for anything
Oh,
to
I'm
touch.
gonna get you.
And it-
Oh.
Don't get too close. I'll finger you.
Right, imagine being out for a night out and you just get like you just see all the like they're like jellyfish, just like floating around.
But you
and
wouldn't
they're,
be
like,
able to tell the difference between normal blind people and pedo blind people, and you
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
know the
because they're
difference
what?
between normal nuggets and pedo nuggets. You know.
Are there that many normal nuggets out on a night?
I mean, like, there's enough that, like, if you were a nugget and then they made that legal and all of a sudden the only people you could relate to were sex offenders, it
Yeah,
might
that'd
be slightly
pretty upset with
troubling.
that.
Did you guys play the game Stuck in the Mud at primary school?
Oh, it rings a bell. I
Rings a
think so.
bell, yeah.
So it's a game where like once you get tagged, you're
You have to
frozen
stay
in the
there,
spot.
Oh, yeah,
and
and
you're
you
trying
can,
to
like,
tag
yeah,
people.
yeah,
But
yeah.
imagine that you're on a night out and those are the molesters and they're just like standing
like, "Whoa,
still,
watch out,
reaching
Jake."
around, and then like one
Almost
of your
got
mates gets molested a little bit. And you're like, dang, you got tagged.
You got
Cursed Yarns is living well and truly up to its name.
Wait, I thought we were talking about Formula One.
Oh, shit.
But it wouldn't be a podcast with a guest if we didn't do a bit of Guantanamo style interrogation of our guest.
That wasn't the deal.
Yeah. So I've got a wet towel and we're gonna start asking you some questions.
There's actually
But-
pissed all over it.
Well, no, yeah, maybe. Yeah, he pissed on it earlier. It's sat under his chair. but I've heard,
you want to know.
but wanted to get into a little bit about. So a lot of people that maybe listen to this will know the Conor Shand of Full Time Senders, whether that be in a kick-ons capacity where he's a highly active cactus murderer, or whether that be in an events capacity where you're generally lighting and sound desk bound but consuming either heinous volumes of alcohol or heinous volumes of milk. But I'm personally aware of a little bit of the prior to that from championing underground raves around Wellington to then moving to a venue. If you are from Wellington and you went to an event at Love Not Lost, we're currently speaking to the man that was 1/3 of what made that happen. I'm keen to get a little bit of insight into the method that maketh the man. Obviously, certified law degree man, but also what got you into the industry, what made it appealing to you.
So I think the question you're trying to address in a roundabout sense is, where did it all go wrong?
Where did it all go wrong? All the other avenues you had to make money, and you chose the least profitable one.
Yeah, no, it's literally just dog racing. You just pick one and you're just like, I'm probably going to lose money, but it's fun to be there. I don't know, I suppose in any level of musical involvement, it was purely just on the basis of being a particularly unacademic student, being out for nights out frequently, and thinking generally, this all sucks quite a lot.
And was that in Wellington or?
Oh no, yeah, in Wellington.
Yeah.
Hamilton didn't suck. I mean, it sucks. It sucks more now.
Yeah. Did you go to school there? Is more the like? Did you go to school in Hamilton? Did you go to school in Wellington?
Yes,
both.
Yeah, no, I went to school in Hamilton.
It's like going to university in Chernobyl.
Didn't go there.
Going to school in Hamilton. Similar kind of.
Similar diseases, eh?
But yeah, sorry. You were saying.
I don't know. I just had a very wholesome, nice time in Hamilton. Shout out to Mum, Dad, my parole officer. Everything was just very relaxed. And I was just looked after. And then they sent me down here, and I didn't realize I had ADHD, and then just plowed on, violently failing for 8 years. Like, it got to the point I'd maxed out my student loan, and then had to pay for it was the last paper I had to do. Paid like just by internet bank transfer, because studying like bro, like there's none left. You get like 7 EFTS, and I was at like 7 point something.
What's EFTS?
Effective full time.
Oh yeah.
Sesh. It's like it's sort of equivalent. It equates
Equivalent
to
full time. Yeah.
like it pays for like 1 = 1 year of study, number of papers.
Yeah.
But yeah, came down here and just didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I held the record actually for the person who resat the same paper the most times and still passed it, which was to the absolute bemusement of the lecturer, because the amount of emails that I had exchanged with the dean, like the school dean, where he's just like, oh, it's you again, you're asking for permission to sit this course again, because you have to ask after you sit it 2 times, you have to ask the dean's permission every time to resit. And I got to the 5th time. Oh. I've had that email exchange 3 times with him, and it got to the point where he's just like he's just like head in his hands, probably at his desk, just going like, yeah, just
Please.
bro. And then like all I did, I just watched the lectures, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because I went to class and it all just started falling into place.
That was genuinely that was the thing for me. And again, this is the like ADHD thing. It was just like, it's, you know, the sort of the natural response when you come against anything boring is like, oh, what's this? So, you know, be it like just watching something else, doing something else. And so like it kind of got to that 5th year, and then again like just sort of went, well, I can't afford to fail this anymore,
so better start paying attention.
Yeah. And so did that, and then somewhere along the way during that journey was just going out frequently enough that town sucked, and I decided to try and do things that didn't suck, because I didn't want to keep going to town with headphones in.
And in that regard, from origin of you to origin of FTS, Conor, for the uninformed, is 1/3 of Full-Time Senders, who are a promotion company based in Wellington, who have recently just started going national. Congratulations. Big ups. Gigs in Auckland, and looking around the Motu as it is.
Kind of Cambodia.
Cambodia next. You can go to a gig and shoot a cow with an RPG. Dang. But in terms of the kind of the formulation of Full-Time Senders, the other 2/3 are Daniel and Harry.
God rest Daniel's
and
soul.
how did that come about? How did yous cross paths, and how did FTS become an idea that seemed acceptable?
I mean, I don't know if it's that super interesting. I was literally just met at like Harry and I met first year of university, and then we moved into possibly the most degenerate flat of I think genuinely the most degenerate flat in Wellington ever, in our second year, And the only reason I say that is because it was fine like most of the year partying, but then it got to the end of the year and we had one last party, and then one of us, he got like real sick, so he like tagged out, like went stayed with his girlfriend. Another person had headed out, and so we had this like 2 trolleys just filled with like cans and bottles and whatnot. But all of us were knackered, and then I got some kind of illness. I can't remember, glandular fever, and so I was sick. And then no one had, like we're just like Sieb's cleaning. It's been a mess all year. And then the flies moved in.
Oh.
And like the World Vision ads where it's like a cloud of flies, like a literal cloud. In that flat, it was such a problem that like we had like airlocks to keep the flies between, like that would be the goal. The goal is just like in out, close the door, because the lounge, the kitchen, the entranceway, because there were like a pile of rotting garbage bags in there as well. It was, if you walked through it, you'd just be bumping into flies.
That's so fucked up.
That sounds horrific.
It was great. Best time of my life. Amazing. I wanted to move back there. I genuinely did. But yeah, so that was, met Harry first year, and then down through him, and then we just had nice times in the World Vision flat. And then at some point down the line, after that, we'd gotten into doing bunker parties with like an absolute bunch of legends, and then from there the opportunity just arose to do degenerate activities in a venue as opposed to on a hill. It's always nice having a roof with degenerate activities. You don't get rained on. It's great,
especially in Wellington.
Well, yeah, it's definitely like, I think the volume of events that you were doing, like you were in Love Not Lost Friday, Saturday night every weekend for like a year, and because of that there was a place to go in and to absorb that kind of music and that culture. And I think perhaps people, and slightly now people are starting to appreciate it a little bit more, is if that wasn't there, I don't think there would have been a great deal of people queuing up to take on that job. I think you definitely, in a sense, given especially your partialness to getting on it and enjoying a party, took one for the team to for the greater good, the greater good,
the greater good,
to make that happen. Like for as a whole, I think the entire there's definitely a community that formed out of the Love Not Lost scene. The likes of like Walker and Chrissy P have like came from just being a party to that, to now being like DJs in their own right and doing their own thing. And like there's a cursed group chat of a bunch of people who have been invited into that. Yes. And yeah, it's definitely like, regardless, like obviously Love Not Lost, cursed owner, kind of fell by the wayside, but then honestly kind of created an opportunity for you to take your foot off the gas a bit and like have a bit of brain time, I imagine. And now it just means that you're doing events less consistently but more effectively.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I think it is, fundamentally it was always a passion project, and people rally around a passion project because they sense that energy from you. And you're like starting out, say, because I was getting the student loan while studying but also working full time, and so I had enough like expendable income to just, if we cop it out, whatever, get the speakers, get the DJs, just cover what need to. But also the other thing as well too is with that is like people, again, when they sense that passion, they rally around it. So like they would see, say like firstly with like Harry and Dan, like they're like, we can see that this is having results, has potential, so like they're like keen as getting involved with it. And then from there as well too, outwards that radiates. Then you get other people coming along going like, oh, like we can see that these, and it shows, like say if you go out to a nightclub, you go out to a bar, you can see somewhere where it's just like an owner is paying people to be there until it closes, and it just has to be passably average. And you can go to a gig where it's like, and so that was the thing with that, is like, it might be lower production spec, but like it'll have me, I'll just be up, retarded, shirtless, sunglasses on, manually operating the strobes with like a multi-point with like an off-on buttons.
I've seen that
sounds
happen.
Amazing, man.
I have played a gig at Love Not Lost where I was both in control of the decks and the smoke machine and the strobes, so it was I was 4 decks and some switches.
And even like, I don't know, credit to the owners as well too. Like say, like Benji, absolute legend. Even Stu as well though. Like I know there's a bit of a mess towards the end, but still, again, like they are the ones who facilitated the opportunity. And like we got a hell of a lot of backing from both of them. You know, it's like, and even then, like it's. I know there was that sort of the breakdown towards the end, but say like with like Stu, like it's still like again like you've got to respect the craft for like there's no other bar owner that like aside from like him and Benji that would have done the, like what they did for us to make a space like that. Yeah, where fundamentally what it was just an out of control flat party with a door charge. Yeah. And a license. Yeah. And that's, you know, you go in, it's just like, say you show up, you get your wristband, it's like, all right, sweet, unlimited vodka, man.
Toilet, rest in pieces. Yeah.
It's funny just getting to the end of it when it's like everything's just falling apart, just having a gig where it's just like the toilet's just like ankle deep water. Yeah. But still, because that was the thing, is all the investment was just into like that production. Because again, passion project, that's the focus. Is it like it needs to sound good, it needs to look good. You know, come up the stairs, feel the bass hit you. Yeah. And like the funny thing was the contrast between that where the passion was, but then like the whole place being like near derelict. It's like, oh, what do you have behind the bar? Do you have any beer? No, no beer. What do you have?
Does the fridge have lights?
Sometimes, but you turn the like speakers up loud enough, all the lights start strobing. Yeah, and the whole place with it. And that's kind of, I don't know, that's special as well to just have like, because that's like it's the same as sort of one of those places where it can be legendarily bad and good at the same time. Yeah. Like it kind of, you know, it's in the same way as when I recall that like flat experience where I'm like, it was a shithole at one point, but then that also makes you kind of like, I don't know, the range of interesting things going on.
You can have good times in strange places. Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
And isn't that your Tinder bio?
Yeah, it is. You want to have some good times in some strange places? Well,
contact Jake Farrell.
Oh, I've been surname dropped. There you go. You can stalk me now. All 12 listeners that are already friends with me on Facebook.
What was it again? 138.
But from there, just come off the back of last night, Andromedic, Belgian International, just been playing the usual circuit that this is his second year. He's played Tomorrowland, I think. Huge artist in his own right, amongst others. Like now that you've not got that place to relentlessly sesh every weekend, you've now been a little bit more picky and choosy, and are I suppose building a reputation for bringing over established acts that are well to do. How has that been as a kind of a change of pace for you, and how does that look in terms of the future? Is that something you aim to continue, or do you want to build into like a middle ground of pace between that and where you are now, but with more established artists?
So I think it's the sort of change of pace wasn't so necessarily voluntary. Like it was more so, you know, it's because with Love Not Lost we had all the production sorted, so you could put anyone in there, it doesn't cost anything, and it would sound good and it would look good. Issue now is that, say, with the not being there, switching to other venues like Eva, is where, you know, you've got to bring in sound, you've got to bring in lighting, and so in order to deliver a show that you kind of believe in, you know, something where it's like, again, you know, like you walk out into the crowd and you go, this is a good time. Yeah. It costs more. So it means that you've kind of got to be more careful. And also like with their higher capacity as well too.
You can afford to gamble less.
Whereas like, like Love Not Lost previously, you can kind of just roll the dice, put someone on, and people will come as well too. I think like it's still, I really, really want to like be able to do stuff more frequently and tap into like, I don't know, like the people who kind of we started out and built with, you know, they're just the NZ local legends, be it like Wellington local, be it like just around the country, you know, Tweed, Deep Notion, CSM, like these people who are just like, they're an absolute belter of a show, but you need to find that like right venue and that right cost to make it viable to run. That said, still too, like just happy doing whatever we're doing. Like it's sick again to get like Andromedic back. It's quite a buzzy one because he was my favorite drum and bass artist well, he still is. Like he's like one of my most. But there was like a year where he was like all of my like most listened to songs, and so it's quite a surreal moment when at Lost we had him over for the first time and just like, how are you here? Yeah. And then like the second time coming back and like being sort of, you know, familiar first name terms like friends. Yeah. You know, getting to meet like his brother, and like Christoph, and then like tour manager Giuseppe, like the whole party, like the whole group's just like amazing. And he's like one of those people as well too who I think it's real cool if you're organizing a show, if it's someone who you kind of like believe in, not only like firstly as an artist, but secondly like, as a person as well too. Like, you know, so if I was putting on like if you were playing and it's like, I just know you're fucking demented, but I mean, you're redeemable. You've got potential. But like it's someone who you're like sort of like personally like I back this person as a person as well too. Yeah. And that's like something where I think, you know, if you're doing shows less often, you're picking like being pickier, then it means you can kind of only choose those ones where it's like, you know, like it's like I believe in every aspect of it. I believe in how it sounds, believe in how it looks, I believe in like who the artist is. Sota, Gino, Hedex, Mosey, like there's a number of artists who, you know, they get a big advantage because they can, you know, sort of present themselves in a way where it's sort of, you're not like necessarily just listening their songs and buying tickets to listen to their songs. You're buying tickets to go see the person who and I think like it is kind of it's sort of unfortunate if you're, because I know there are people as well too, I just feel like I'm just sort of like prostituting myself on social media by going on like and doing something performative. But it's kind of, I don't know, finding some balance, whatever works for you, where ultimately, again, just as that key fundamental passion project, if you can give people that feeling of, I don't know, sort of like rallying around you, not just because, you know, you've got a couple of good tunes, but because for whoever you are, be it if you're, you know, if you're anxious on social media, if you're someone who's worried, like a great example recently was Pendulum. I can't remember the band member who it was, but it was Pendulum and Georgie Riot played a show in Dunedin, and it was the O-Week show Thursday. They had about 30 people there. Like there was a video of it, and it's literally just like a couple of groups sitting on the front row.
That's crazy.
But the thing what he did is he like took a video of it and he went like, things don't always go as you plan, and then cut to him like narrating how basically getting video of that event and then saying, you know, so here's what we did. You know, we thought, well, there's only 30 people here. Let's get everyone up on stage. Let's just have like a party with us. And it's like this huge proper, like, you know, it's like an 800,000 cap, like really good setup. But things like that where if you kind of open people up to just the sort of more of your world, it becomes more compelling. You know, it's not just loud noises and flashing lights. It's a person. It's a, you know, it's a like someone who has highs, lows, someone who you again believe in and go like, oh, I like this person. And it's also very interesting that I think it is quite exclusive to electronic music, as I'm aware. Because, you know, say if you go see like I think of like U2, Green Day, who I saw live, and the huge LED screens that they have up, they're showing the artist on a larger screen, so everyone could see them, like singing, playing guitar, bass, drums, like it's so they can see the person. Yeah. But then with electronic music, generally it's just visuals, which is quite so because there's that disconnect there.
This is what I liked about so Queens of the Stone Age last night. There was none of that. There was no screens. So they were playing at the TSB Arena, which is a like off the top of my head, a 4,000 capacity arena, and no screens. So like it was actually one of the first things I noticed was that they had the line arrays and they had like brilliant like lighting setup, but no screens. Obviously in that arena, are screens necessary? Maybe not, but I've seen live bands play in there and they've had screens up on either side showing it. Would watching a DJ mixing on big screens really be that appealing?
Well, think about it. It's, you know, when you watch like when you go on YouTube, you watch a DJ set, you're not watching the visuals. You're watching them mixing.
Thinking, like I would enjoy watching the guy actually doing his thing.
That's every like
probably a lot more than the visuals.
Every recorded set
But there's-
has that angle, and that's what I think makes it compelling. It's otherwise, you just go on SoundCloud, but it's like the people I know who I just whenever someone's gone on YouTube, put a DJ set on, that's what's on. That's the thing that compels people to watch, and it's not necessarily up close facials going like, oh my god, look how happy he is. But it's more so just again like showing
what he's up to.
Yeah, what the fuck they're doing.
Like watching a master work away at his craft.
Yeah.
You know, it's far more compelling, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
On that note, what happens if I need to pee again?
We'll bounce back around
okay.
and send your way. So I had a thought about your breastfeeding yarn.
Okay.
And so what would be some other ways to circumnavigate nudity laws? Because if it's for educational purposes, could you get your dick out?
Well, you have to think, what do people need educating on that involves a dick?
Sex.
But that's
So you just post porn and say it's for educational purposes.
Yeah, but there'll
teaching
still be
people
a
how
rule,
to
like,
have
no
sex.
sexual content, right? You have to be able to differentiate it from sexual content.
So so it can't be penis related.
No, the thing
penis
is, people don't want to see dicks
teaching people
anyway.
how to piss. Yeah, no, you say that as a guy.
You think there are women out there that are going
Like
on Instagram
seeing-
and hoping to see a dick? But in saying that, I'm not going on Instagram hoping to see boobs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, somewhere, like, there is people out there that, like, if their Instagram was loaded with dicks, they'd be well happy about it.
Well, that's the point where you can just go to another app or go to another site and see all the dicks
I know,
you want.
you can go to another app and see all the titties you want, but
Yeah.
you've got titties on your Instagram.
I heard Instagram loaded with dicks, and I instantly tuned back, and I had to interrupt peeing all over your toilet seat just to come back for
Oh, it
this.
makes a change from... It's just a Conor thing, it seems. But Conor loves... But to be fair, in fact, the seat can be immaculate. The floor is his modus operandi.
Lies.
He loves it.
I am Picasso, and it is my canvas. Le masterpiece. What was that? Was this law changes?
Yeah, so we were circling back to law changes. We were just talking about... Oh, no, not law changes, sorry. We were circling back to the Instagram boobies for educational purposes. So was
So
just
what other educational things could you get away with on Instagram by saying they're educational?
So I have a point completely irrelevant to that because I heard the law change thing.
Okay, go.
Get
And
amongst
so
it.
I'm just derailing that.
And
But-
not derail.
So, you know how back in the day, the whole take with cigarettes was, like you're caught smoking cigarettes. Now you have to hold smoke the whole pack.
Yeah.
Mandate vaping at age 5 and just make them hate it.
But if you're 5 years old, what's going to make you hate it? Vapes taste mean.
No, but it's like if you have to hit the point of excess where it's a level of discomfort,
Yeah.
and then they're just cured for life. They'll never
them to
vape
throw
again.
up.
Or they're just hyper addicted to extremely high levels of nicotine their entire
'cause
life
you-
in the
Or
vape
give them
industry.
fake
Boom.
vapes that aren't real vapes that have some nausea-inducing chemical in them, so they hit it for the first time,
Smart.
puke everywhere, and never want to touch it again.
Well, there's also I saw, this is not a sponsored cast, but I saw a brand called Fume that sell vape-shaped things, and they have just like a little cartridge, or not even a cartridge, but like it looks like almost like an acid tab of like flavor that they must run out super quick, but you put them in the thing, and when you breathe in, it just gives you like flavored air, and it's meant to be like
That's a
the
good idea.
gateway to just breathing again.
Your
Which-
gateway to not huffing chemicals all day.
Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of not being sponsored, what's going on with Bump? Is that inbound? Have
Well,
you heard anything back
I mean,
about-
if it gets seized at the border, it gets seized at the
So
border.
it's still
but,
potential.
You
Incoming?
can't have sponsors from the dark net.
well, no,
Last
they're on like the open.
Jake, we've been over this, man.
On the open internet, like it's a real thing. But yeah, basically, I sent them a message, just being like, because they had like an ambassador program thing, and I sent them an email. Haven't had a reply yet, other than we'll get back to your email. But I was like, fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pounding. So I ordered a box of Bump, like a commercial box. So it's like, I think it's 30 like
Vials.
cases.
Okay.
Just to
of-
clarify, what is Bump?
Bump is a oh fuck,
That's a
sorry.
bump.
That's
a bump. Bump is caffeine and inositol exclusively powdered. And if you go on the website, you can see it advocates for snorting it. It's like it's the quickest way to get inositol and caffeine to your brain. We're not trying to turn you into drug addicts. It's just good mathematics. Like the quickest way to get these things to your brain is to sniff them. Other than that, there's no negative side effects.
Why don't you just get sponsored by a drug dealer?
Because I that's kind of what's already happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I am my drug dealer and I am sponsoring this podcast.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Anonymous at 021-735-8259.
Dial your real phone number
for all of your completely legal needs.
For all your definitely legal party favors.
I should have made that my dad's phone number. Actually, okay, so if you need drugs, please call 0274 721 518. I'm sorry about that, Dad, but it is kind of funny to just dox you on this.
It's like you're literally just gonna get like, it's like you've just committed like phone swatting.
Yeah, it's funny though.
So swatting in itself it's funny to be an observer of.
Oh, actually, a good legal change one. I think that there should be a legal defense of balancing the crime and the funniness of the crime. Because I think fundamentally entertainment is like, it's something that people should, it's of universal benefit to society.
Give me an example of a crime that would normally result in a jail sentence that would have been let off on pure entertainment grounds.
Like say, you look at the parliament protests, even say like just at a basic level, just drawing like a cock and balls on the beehive. Yeah. And it's like there's some sort of fundamentally carnal satisfying element of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, it's not ideal, but like I think it's still even that's not necessarily a type of humor that I think, because I think that's the thing as well too, is then it kind of, you get into like, how do you quantify humor? What is funny? Funny is subjective.
What is funny in a courthouse? If you swat a streamer and they pee their pants, like, that'd be a pretty good defense.
But then if you swat a streamer and they walk out their front door being like, what the fuck, and they get shot in the head.
Well, I think it's not so funny.
Not so
You're going to jail. But if he pisses himself, it's funny.
What if he gets shot in the head and pisses himself?
Got him laughing.
So that's it, he's off. So you're there watching this guy get swatted in real time, and you're like, please piss your pants or I am going to prison.
Because then actually what that kind of the interesting dilemma with that would be is like having to, say if you're committing a crime, then going, okay, how can I dynamically adjust the funniness level of this to be able to get away with this? So say, like if you're drunk driving, if you crash your car, so you're just like, fucking, I'm going to put Crazy Frog on the speaker, put a clown costume on, and the police show up and you're like dancing, doing Fortnite dances on top of the car, Crazy Frog's playing, there's like, all right, just a warning this time. But that's a better world to live in. That's a better world. That's a great world. I think if you like mandate humor, everyone's having a better time, aside from if you get crashed into by someone playing Crazy Frog in a clown costume and lose the ability to walk.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, if it's a victimless crime and it has comedy value, then you're sweet. But if you're blaring Crazy Frog in a fucking clown costume and you just drive across a zebra crossing and like kill 17 children on their way home from school.
Well, you just have to be funnier though. That's the thing. That's the thing. Is like, again, it's like it's balance. And
doesn't
like
matter how heinous the crime is, as long as you do it in a funnier manner.
And these are learned academics too, so they can easily wrap their minds around this sort of thing. It's not hard for them to assess that.
The masses of the world are an extremely learned bunch.
No, the judges. They're the ones assessing. They're the ones, because that's the thing, is they're going to be a person in a silly wig.
I don't know how. But then in actual fact, you don't want to be doing it based on comedy value of the public. You want to be doing it of the comedy value of judges. I imagine. No, because they have to assess on the values of the public. They have to assess. They couldn't just go, what do I find funny? That would be absurd. That would be such a silly way to make laws. But this on the other hand, this is genius.
Grounded.
You've cracked the code.
I don't know what code it is, but it sounds like that great idea.
It sounds pretty idyllic.
It's demented yet redeemable.
Yeah,
just like Jake.
A cursed demented and redeemable seems to be the flavor of the episode.
I love that. That made me laugh so hard.
But yeah, demented and redeemable is my
Tinder bio.
It's my Tinder bio now. I'll change it. I'm gonna.
That's actually not bad.
Demented but redeemable. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty not bad if you're just one of the bros hearing that, but I feel like if you're a chick that's like, how do I assess this guy's character? Do I want to go hang out with him and potentially sleep with him? Demented.
No, but the thing is, it depends who you're like targeting. Like the thing is ultimately, I think you would want someone who has a sense of humor, who can appreciate that you're being self-deprecating.
Well, this is
It's I don't know. If you just want wounders, you can just go on and be like, I'm tall and have muscles and tattoos.
But I'm only two of those things.
Yeah, I mean, you can just lie. You just give disinformation.
Yeah. Well, this is could just AI my photos to make me slightly more muscly.
Oh, actually,
and slightly taller.
On that note, I told her about it as well too. I was using AI to send nice messages to my girlfriend. So just going AI, because I'm a fucking autist. I'm like an emotional robot. So I'd just be like, write a nice message to my girlfriend Amanda, who I love very much, and they would just write something real nice. I'd send it to her and just be like, and then the fun thing was, it got to the point where she was like, "Is this AI or is this you?" And they're just being like, "Oh, like if it was me, just be like, oh no, that was AI." Like,
that's amazing.
A literal robot has more emotions than you do.
And also, because the other great thing is like, because now you can send auto text, so you can just like you get it to generate, and you just get it to auto message at that time.
That's so good.
Beautiful.
It's Copilot, but for relationships.
That's amazing. I'm gonna start using it immediately.
Ideal. Connor used to be an employee of Microsoft.
That's Jake's curse of the podcast.
Every
single
episode.
one we've had so far, he's knocked the mic off
Microsoft
the
don't
stand.
want you to know that.
Yeah,
They don't want you to know that.
Yes.
Bill Gates just went,
Yeah,
"Cue
bro.
mic falling."
Yeah, dude, he's fucking. He stopped.
Sorry, team.
He stopped fucking a kid for a second
I am
and was
not-
like, immediately delete Jake's microphone.
He stopped
Bro,
doing
with the
naughty things
population
with children
control,
on
bro.
Epstein's
Him
Island.
being on the
and
island. Him being on the island. I'm just fundraising, dude. You're one of the richest people in the world. Why are you over there fundraising?
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke thing when you're like, oh, he's fundraising for a cause. It's like, what fucking cause could you possibly need to fundraise for? Just fucking...
Dude, you're fun D-raising and like with a kid.
Yeah.
It's a pun on an erection. It's pretty clever. It's quite a high level. I don't know if you guys are...
Jokes are great when you have to explain them.
It's like, it just depends on the crowd.
Yeah,
It's quite complex.
Fuck knows what our crowd is. Do you know? Oh, so you want some stats? Here's some fucking stats. This is some funny stats. So I went on Spotify and looked at our.
I thought you were about to do crime stats, and I was like, oh god, not this.
No. I went onto Spotify and was looking at our statistics in terms of, what people like search for where we end up.
Is it like mostly porn? Or
On
is it
Spotify, it's comedy, so we turn up in comedy podcast searches. Yeah, YouTube, not so much. We have turned up in, if you search...
I mean, if they saw your face.
Well, it's an audio podcast.
That's why he keeps putting off the video, man.
Because it's going to get worse. So this is the kicker. On YouTube, our podcast has turned up on average higher in searches for horror than anything else. Literally.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
So if you...
I've been present on every podcast.
I told Paz this. I think I just saw it and told Paz this, and I was like, no fucking way. Look at this. Horror is like, so just like at this point, because our podcast doesn't have video, I assume they just slate it off and don't like analyze it as properly, I guess.
So have I been brought on to help make it more horrible, or to direct it elsewhere?
I mean,
bit of both.
Up to you, really.
Yeah,
it depends on the caliber of your content.
The world is our oyster.
The world is our oyster.
Welcome to true crime.
And much like oysters, our podcast is liked by many and hated by others.
Should I start? I could do it. We could do an ASMR direction.
Oh, we've already been on the ASMR.
Have you done the finger up there and you go like?
Oh, nah.
That's cool. Oh, bro, that's soothing as hell. No, have you done? Do you put your finger up like that?
Been there. That's how I test the mics before we start. But
that's
it's more
our
ASMR so far has just been like dog
sexual.
sniffing.
This is this is dangerous.
Well, the dog sniffing gets borderline sexual because
sniffing. So
you just.
No, that's
the
weird.
I wish you could have seen the face Jake pulled while he did that.
But when you do that, so dog sniffing ASMR is apparently also quite similar to what girls hear during sex when
no, they get like
Yeah. Well, that's the cough is a real. You nailed it.
I know the phlegm wasn't intentional.
That's
but
a
it's
Shane
got the
Gillis
character.
by the Shane Gillis is like, oh, the mid-sex cough is like
It's real though.
It's just.
Because it happened to me. That's the thing. It happened to me the other day, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah, this is like." Because initially I just thought it was academic, and then when it happened, I was like, "Okay, this is a real."
Well, you know how people say they've got a fetish for everything? Do you reckon there's someone who's got a fetish for like having sex with people that are ill?
Oh, you
or
know,
like
100%.
at least a piro. So like,
Yeah, 'cause that's
cough. I want you to cough like you got the fucking plague.
Because that's the same. That's the same as like a disability fetish fundamentally, but it's just your immune system.
Oh my god. Cough like you got fucking COVID. Cough in my face, bitch.
COVID's a myth.
Give me the death rattle.
On your nose to bleed all over me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. To be fair, has that ever happened? You are a prolific nosebleeder.
No comment. No fucking comment.
The only person to have bloody bed sheets after sex
You
and
had a
not
great
have rolled
time
the
during
Red Sea.
COVID, didn't you?
Huh?
God, you had a great time during COVID.
Oh, I've just had a moment where the lights have come on and it looks like a murder scene.
What did?
Okay,
Had a little
wait.
bit
I
of a
was
I thought I had a
insinuating
little bit
that.
of a sniffle going, but it turns out it was a nosebleed, and you're making out with someone, and then their whole face is covered in blood, and you're just like ah, and then they're like ah.
What
Facial lubricant doesn't have the same as downstairs lubricant, does it?
Yeah, like sailing the
there's
Red Sea is dank, but
Nah.
when it's on your face, it's a little bit of a problem, I guess.
Not what you can do with that.
Speaking of COVID, what did you get up to during lockdown? What kept you going through lockdown?
Oh, I have one funny story from this.
Go on.
So I was like seeing a person at the time, and also it was kind of that like baking era of COVID, where people were like, you know, they're getting into making sort of cakes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I found this like real easy cheesecake recipe that you could make in a NutriBullet. And me being the sort of cursed, demented sense of humor, I thought it'd be funny if when I was doing the raspberry drizzle on the top of the cheesecake, that I made a swastika pattern on the cheesecake.
You have got priors for swastika abuse.
And again, it's like, you know, like I appreciate that it was perhaps not the most innovative nor comedically palatable design to place on a cheesecake,
But it was aesthetically pleasing.
it was palatably pleasing. It was a great cheesecake. It tasted amazing. I actually used the same recipe and won a workplace award for baking.
Oh my god.
With
No
the same
swastika on that
recipe,
one.
without the swastika, obviously, because the photos are on Facebook of the cheesecake. But on making my
Swazi cheesecake.
yes, I sent an image to the person who I was seeing at the time, and then we subsequently broke up.
That sounds reasonable. For the listeners at home, there's swastika priors from both Conors.
I don't know.
There's been some. Basically, there was one time at a gig which will remain unnamed, and the venue that will remain unnamed, where we had acquired some tube lights, and it just so happened that when the lights got put down on the floor, they fell into a position that somewhat resembled a Swazi. Somewhat ironically, the automatic colours that they had picked to turn on were red, white and blue, so it looked like a French flag made of Swazis.
I'm just going to say that Brent was the one placing them. You don't know who Brent is.
You
but
have
he
just
was the
named.
one.
I was trying to like keep it casual and just be like, oh, they just fell into.
This was going towards me. I'm throwing someone else under the bus. I don't care.
It wasn't going towards anyone. I said that they fell on the floor in a position that resembled it. No one got named.
This whole thing started out with Connor's have Swazi priors, and now I'm in damage control.
I don't know. What about the screens?
They were great.
And then
Jake was the one saying that he would have a swastika flag in his room. He thought the design was really cool.
You got the
he just hates the design, you know.
No,
It didn't have
I'll cop this heat because I feel like it's justified. I was not saying that I think that I was not saying that the swastika flag is good or that it resembles anything amazing. All I was saying was if the Nazis hadn't used it, like that period of history hadn't happened, and I saw a Nazi flag, it was quite an aesthetically pleasing flag to see. I can't explain anything past that, just it's geometrically quite an aesthetically pleasing flag.
I suppose.
Hence the reason it was used by Hindus for years before that. Also, interestingly, if anyone has seen it, there's a documentary called Rael, which is about a French guy who claims he was abducted by aliens, but those aliens were Christian aliens, and that he was the brother of Jesus. And so he was walking around post World War II, like this is in like the last 30 years, walking around, and the symbol that he'd chosen for his emblem was the Star of David with a swastika in the middle of it. Let that sink in. And the best bit is that people saw him he's a cult leader, being a cult leader with a swastika on his chest, whether you put the Star of David around it, whatever. That's like taking a nuclear logo and then putting health in, like it's like taking a nuclear bomb and putting
around
it. Yeah, it's like taking a nuclear taking the nuclear symbol and putting the recycling logo around it. Means fuck all. And like legions of people fell into, like, had a cult of people that lived with him, blah blah blah. Eventually got outed and kind of embarrassed, and then fucked off to Asia. This is like in the past 20 years, like recent.
Whereabouts?
Initially in France, and now he's taken on Buddhist mantras, and he's in Asia doing the same thing with the same logo. But the swastika that he has, his claim to it is that it's on the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which validly it is, but that means fuck all, because World War II happened.
Also, I think in the last 20 years in Europe is like it's not a bad time, like not a good time to be slinging that as your logo with the whole there's that whole far right pop up going on.
Unless you're Prince Harry, then you can just wear it to Halloween parties. Legend.
Bro, he's like the Manchester United of the royal family. It's amazing. Like just the you know the South Park episode where it's just like, we want peace, no one privacy. Pay attention to us. We want privacy. We want privacy world tour. And that was just the best slam dunk critique of them. It's just like, bro, like, just fuck off out of our news feed.
He even pulled a Ronaldo and talked shit about the royal family.
Yeah, you know? Well, he's just lost in. So he's just finally lost in court. He's a cheeky bastard, to be fair. Like, so he's well, not voluntarily, but whatever the deal is he went, right, cool, I've renounced my titles and I'm just fucking Joe Blogs, but I still want state paid for security and a bunch of assets and shit. And it's like, what the fuck?
Because that's the thing, the royal family are already running on a fucking, like, they're already running on a thin ice in terms of people looking at it. People are looking at it going like,
how is this
we
viable?
pay for a stupid amount of, like, we'll pay for a bit, but in terms of how much, like, money and wealth they already have, they don't need that.
And in terms of the money they're bringing in, like, like the argument that I hear is like, oh yeah, but the royal family bring in like millions in tourism and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you could kill all of them tomorrow and people are still going to go to Buckingham Palace because it's cool to look at. Keep the guards there, keep everything else there, and just like, this is where the royal family used to live, and people will still go. Like, people aren't going like, oh, I don't want to go to Anne Frank's house and see that because she's not still there, or like, I don't want to go to this historical, like, I don't want to go see I don't want to go to fucking Machu Picchu because there's not still Aztecs living there. Like, what the fuck?
I'm like, Google that quickly actually, because I'm intrigued by the royal family profit loss. Is it a profitable gig? Does it make money? Well, if you Queen headline, huge set, boiler room, 90 minutes.
The Queen was a profitable motherfucker because she's like, I had honestly not that many issues with the Queen being the Queen, because the Queen had been the Queen as long as and I was like, fair, and you were alive in an era where people still gave a fuck about that. But like now, King Charles now, like, you're an old dude, you are now also dying. Sucks, sorry, that's not sound, but like, you're an old dude with sausage fingers, like, you've opened a bunch of fucking community centers. Like, the Queen had like some fucking legacy and some heritage, because she was still the Queen back in the day when like being the Queen actually was like, she was like, like was actually important. A thing. Whereas like once Prince Charles dies, let's be honest, like Prince William,
is that straight to Prince William?
So
there's
William
no way
would be
that
next.
Prince Andrew can ever be king.
In order for Prince Andrew to be king,
so fucking so
Prince
fun,
Harry
man.
is closer to the throne than Prince Andrew, and honestly, I'd be more into the royal family if, well, pre Meghan Markle, like when he was just like the ostracized, dubiously actually full-blooded royal. I was all for him being king. I was like, fuck yeah, like the renegade king that shouldn't have been. But now I'm like, you're just a fucking wounder, and you're just like on the internet being a wounder about how tough your life is, and it's like, fuck up, bro. You got millions of dollars.
Have you seen how he looks exactly like Diana's horse instructor or horse riding instructor?
Yeah,
like identical, bro. It's very
she wasn't just riding horses.
Doing?
But also on that note, Princess Diana was a saint.
Princess Diana.
That fucking miscellaneous blue beverage.
Also, coming back from Recon, so 2022 headline, the royal family reported a 23.3 million operating profit, up 4% from the previous year.
Damn.
So my question then is like, what quantifies, is profit from the taxpayers, or is it from tourism, and then what constitutes loss?
And also what happens with
that's
what happens with that profit? Like, they made profit, so that goes into like the tax fund and goes to like helping.
Are they a business? Are they like an entity, or are they part of like? How does that work?
Exactly.
They surely don't get taxed on any of that.
Do they what? You can't get taxed on money that your fucking face is on. That's ludicrous.
I don't know the inner workings of it all. I didn't even realize they were out
the
here
Queen
making
didn't
money.
even need a passport. She could just take a £5 note to the airport and she'd be sweet. There's my face, motherfucker.
Because I'm intrigued by that, because I don't know how they would say, as a part of the government, we've made operating profit. Because where is the money coming from? Because a lot of their stuff is covered by taxpayer money. So I'd be intrigued by the metric of that.
Yeah, I think it's all pretty, I don't know. I feel like the numbers that they release and the things that they're doing with their money, etc., will be like extremely ring fenced so that it looks a lot better than it actually is. But like at the end of the day, they own multiple multi-million dollar or multi-million pound properties across the United Kingdom and around the world, and like they're using. So, for example, Buckingham Palace was getting renovated. That money came from the royal pot, and that was the justification. But like, where did the royal pot come from? Came from fucking taxpayers' money. Like, the royal allowance is fucking insane amounts of money for, realistically, at this point, like active royals that people give a fuck about, like 5 or 6 of them.
Do you mind? I mean, because this then, just to interrupt, begs a very interesting and compelling question, which is, in relation to that, if you were to, for nutritional supplement, consume the Queen's lactate, Harry Kane's lactate, or Lewis Hamilton's lactate for muscular gain, which of the three would it be? Or not necessarily for muscular gain, it could be for just recreational, because I think she has an element of rarity. That's the thing. There is scarcity on the market for hers, whereas they may well have lactate to give for a number of years.
The Queen's lactate is dust.
A mix of like all the thousands of people's blood that she's stolen and injected to live for so long.
Exactly. There's so much power in it.
All the bone marrow she's been eating from children.
I'm sticking to my guns with Lewis Hamilton.
You really? She's had some victories.
Has she?
Hasn't she had military victories?
What military victories have happened in her era?
She oppressed the poor for about 40 years.
That was Thatcher.
She killed Princess Diana.
That might have been her.
Big dubs.
That's not a military victory though. That was incognito. Like, realistically, this is the thing. Like,
the
royal family have not been at the back of a military victory in centuries. Like,
what about the Argentina?
Was the Queen sat at the back of the ranks directing troops in a suit of armour?
Yeah, she was there.
Was she buggery?
Yeah, she was. It was like Fortnite. She was like there. She had a pickaxe out. She was running at fucking Argentinian people.
I would have been more inclined to be on the Brits' side in the Falklands if the Queen was actually there getting into it. That's why I think Prince William, or as a king, would be more appealing to the masses, as he's served military time. He's done like the equivalent of like Teutonic Knights prince kind of deal, where he's gone and served with the military and then has become like it's no mean feat to be flying fucking like military helicopters.
Was he ever in any real danger?
Fuck yeah, he was.
Surely not, bro. They're not going.
How funny would that be though?
Prince go into battle, man.
Bro, imagine him just getting RPG'd out of the sky.
I mean, that's always possible.
That would honestly, it would have probably been the best press the royal family's had in centuries.
They actually, bro, they should have. They should have. They should have just
just
adopted a kid and had him RPG'd, because that for the royal sentiment. Imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have been unreal.
That's what keeps like the people going. It's like they're like, oh no. Like, let's say with Princess Diana, like after her dying, like there would have been a sort of a rallying around.
Right,
So-
we've had some technical difficulties, memory related, and so we cut off a little bit there.
Like the last 40 seconds, it's all right, guys. You didn't miss much.
You didn't miss anything.
You missed a lot.
You missed it all.
We're
They're
so
lying
sorry.
to you. Don't trust them.
It wouldn't be a
Jake and
CCVT
Connor are
podcast
disinformation.
without technical difficulties at this point. We are constantly
We're,
battling.
one day we'll manage an entire episode without technical difficulties. But on this occasion,
They're hiding secrets from you. Don't let them lie to you. It's all lies. I had a revelation.
gag him more quick. But
Fucking don't
the-
listen to the
ultimately, we have returned to
government.
we've returned to the cast. We've returned to casting to
P.
get you to pee and to encourage you towards our poll, where you can vote for
P.
which lactation you would prefer for physical gain. The Queen, Lewis Hamilton, or who was the other one?
Harry.
Kane.
Harry Kane. So would you rather win no championships, win some championships, or arguably win some championships? Up to you. But from myself, L. Jacobs,
And Boyd.
and that was the noise of Conor Boyd imitated by Conor Shand. This is us signing out. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and please
Come.
share it.
Fuck.
Or come and share and come, multitask.
Toast
But
mates.
please share the cast to some other people. That would be dang. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that shit. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the CCVT podcast. Good night.
Subscribe. Come.